May 15, 2024, News Report 1. The spokesperson for China's Taiwan Affairs Office, Chen Binhua, announced on May 15 that 5 well-known Taiwanese hosts would be disciplined. They are accused of deliberately fabricating false negative information about China and extensively sensationalizing it in the media to stir up cross-strait confrontation and harm the feelings of people on both sides. Chen did not specify how these hosts would be punished, but according to precedent, China may prohibit them and their families from entering Hong Kong and Macau, restrict their cooperation with Chinese organizations and individuals, and prevent their associated companies from profiting in China. The 5 named hosts are Lu Baojie from Eastern Broadcasting Company's Crucial Moment, Li Zhenghao from Sanli Television's New Taiwan Style, the host of the YouTube channel Polaris Storytelling, Yu Beichen, Wang Yichuan from Sanli Television's New Taiwan, Go, and another host from Eastern Broadcasting Company's Crucial Moment, Huang Shizong. This disciplinary action has sparked criticism from overseas media and social platforms, stating that under the leadership of Xi Jinping, the Chinese government is increasingly resembling a cultural brute. In response, Wang Yichuan, one of the disciplined hosts, expressed confusion as the spokesperson for the Taiwan Affairs Office had welcomed his visit to China last month but is now sanctioning him. Other hosts have also responded on social media, stating that they will not be affected. Taiwanese experts believe that the Chinese Communist Party's move aims to intimidate the Taiwanese people, reflecting its lack of confidence in its own system and governance. News Report 2. According to Apple News Network, Taiwan's incoming president, Lai Ching-te, hosted a banquet for 51 Democratic Progressive Party (DPP) legislators on May 14 and made 4 directives. First, DPP legislators must all attend and stay for the entirety of party caucus meetings, and cannot sign in and leave during caucus policy group meetings or skip meetings. Second, DPP legislators must not only attend the committee meetings they belong to but also support each other in other committee meetings to avoid being at a disadvantage in the partisan battle. Third, even if the DPP fails in the decisive battle of the partisan struggle, it must not lose its own political views and must persist in arguing and strengthening policy arguments to seek the greatest support from society. Fourth, short videos for policy promotion should be rapidly disseminated. During the banquet, legislators put forward their opinions, stating that the legislative yuan is currently at a disadvantage. Lai Ching-te listened to everyone's suggestions and toasted each table before leaving. This style essentially reflects the tradition of Taiwan's political scene. Lai Ching-te's style differs from his predecessor, Tsai Ing-wen, who is an academic-type leader, while Lai Ching-te comes from street politics, having served as a legislator for 4 terms and being very familiar with the operation of the legislative yuan. He is considered a capable leader. Therefore, it can be foreseen that under Lai Ching-te's leadership, the DPP will present a completely different style, and the Kuomintang may face greater challenges. Additionally, the latest poll released by the Lin Media on May 15 shows that the support rate for the DPP is 28.6%, the Kuomintang is at 16.3%, and the People's Party is at 8.8%. Furthermore, 31% of the public believe that the new government's primary task is to develop the economy, manage finances, and banking, while 28.5% believe it should focus on developing social welfare and labor rights. This survey was conducted on 1,387 Taiwanese people from May 2 to May 9. News Report 3. The governments of China and the United States held their first artificial intelligence dialogue meeting in Geneva on May 14. At the meeting, both sides expressed their diametrically opposed positions. China emphasized the restrictions imposed by the United States on China in the field of artificial intelligence and expressed a firm stance. The United States expressed concern about artificial intelligence activities that threaten U.S. national security. The meeting was co-chaired by Yang Tao, Director of the Department of American Affairs of the Chinese Ministry of Foreign Affairs, and Keith Sent, Acting Special Envoy for Key and Emerging Technologies at the U.S. Department of State, and Chu Bra, Senior Director for Technology and National Security at the White House National Security Council. The White House press release stated that the two sides exchanged views on how to understand and address the risks of artificial intelligence. U.S. officials stated that the focus of the meeting was on addressing risks and security, rather than achieving specific outcomes. Artificial intelligence has been a fiercely competitive field between China and the United States in recent years, involving chips and algorithms. China has been heavily reliant on open-source models from the United States in the field of artificial intelligence. In March of this year, the Beijing Academy of Artificial Intelligence pointed out that all of China's artificial intelligence models are actually built on Meta's intelligent model. Therefore, if the U.S. government issues an order prohibiting the transfer of these artificial intelligence models to China, China's development in artificial intelligence will be severely affected. News Report 4. The Japan Chamber of Commerce and Industry in China announced the results of a survey on May 14. The chamber conducts a survey every 3 months, and this survey was conducted from March 18 to April 12, receiving responses from 1,741 Japanese companies. The survey results showed that 50% of companies believe that the Chinese economy will continue to deteriorate this year, a significant increase from 39% in January. Additionally, 44% of companies believe that they will not invest in China this year or that their investment will decrease, a slight improvement. The reason may be that some companies plan to increase their research and development investments to cope with competition in the Chinese market. 16% of companies plan to increase their investments, 1 percentage point higher than in January. Increased uncertainty about the outlook for the Chinese economy has led Japanese companies to be more cautious about investment. Furthermore, Radio France Internationale reported that China is increasingly losing its appeal, with more and more European companies and manufacturers withdrawing from China. A survey report released by the European Chamber of Commerce in China on May 10 showed that only 13% of EU companies consider China their preferred investment destination, the lowest level in history. 25% of surveyed companies are pessimistic about their growth potential in China. Analysts believe that the reasons for China's loss of appeal are twofold: geopolitical factors, such as China's support for Russia, tense relations between China and Taiwan, Sino-US confrontation, and U.S. sanctions against China, all of which have increased the risks of investing in China. Second, multinational companies now prefer to invest in Southeast Asia, such as Vietnam, Indonesia, and Singapore. News Report 5. According to Reuters, the United States will provide Israel with $1 billion in military aid, including tank shells, mortar shells, and armored vehicles. These weapons have been delivered for congressional review. A week ago, the U.S. government postponed the shipment of heavy bombs to Israel, fearing that Israel might launch a large-scale attack in the Gaza Strip. This military aid does not fall under the recently approved Foreign Military Assistance Act by Congress. National Security Council spokesman Kobe emphasized on May 13 that President Biden will continue to support Israel's defense needs but does not want Israel to use U.S. heavy bombs in specific locations or operations. In addition, Israel and Hamas stated on May 15 that Israel's weapons do not belong to the aid just approved by Congress. The gun battle between the two sides intensified overnight. The Israeli military stated that Israel's target in northern Gaza is Hamas training camp in Jabalia. Israeli tanks are advancing towards the center of Jabalia. However, the area is densely populated with narrow roads, and the Israeli army is facing resistance from Hamas. Hamas ally, the Islamic Jihad organization, stated that they are in Jabalia. News Report 6. The National Immigration Administration announced at a press conference on May 15 that foreign tourist groups traveling by cruise ship to China will be eligible for visa-free entry starting immediately. This policy applies to all foreign tourists traveling by cruise ship to China for stays of no more than 15 days. Tourists must be received by Chinese travel agencies and follow the cruise itinerary to the next port of call until the cruise leaves China. The ports of entry for visa-free entry include Dalian, Shanghai, Wenzhou, Qingdao, Guangzhou, Shenzhen, and Haikou, as well as Beijing. The Chinese government has recently been striving to attract foreign tourists to China. The introduction of this policy demonstrates China's open attitude towards the tourism industry. It is also seen as part of the Chinese government's efforts under the leadership of Xi Jinping to find a balance between national security and promoting tourism. News Report 7. According to data released by the Japan National Tourism Organization on May 15, the number of foreign tourists visiting Japan in April reached 3.04 million, an increase of 4% compared to the same period in 2019. Although lower than the 3.08 million in March, it still set the second highest record. For 2 consecutive months, the number of foreign tourists visiting Japan exceeded 3 million, an unprecedented growth rate. Among the foreign visitors to Japan, the top 3 were South Korea, 660,000, China, 530,000, and Taiwan, 450,000. The number of Chinese tourists visiting Japan in April accounted for 74% of the same period in 2019, the first time it has recovered to over 70%, and Chinese tourists have risen to the second place. However, the overall number of tourists visiting Japan has still decreased, indicating that there is still some cost pressure for Chinese tourists to travel to Japan, and therefore, everyone's travel budget may be limited. News Report 8. According to a report by Kyodo News, the Japanese-Chinese teacher who went missing in China is named Yuan Kachin, a professor at Hokkaido University of Education in Japan. Yuan Kachin was arrested in China after returning to attend his mother's funeral in May 2019 and was sentenced to 6 years in prison for espionage by the Changchun Municipal Intermediate People's Court in Jilin Province at the end of January this year. The Chinese prosecution accused Yuan Kachin of long-term cooperation with Japanese intelligence agencies in espionage activities. Yuan Kachin has appealed the sentence. There are reports that Chinese nationals working in education in Japan may be detained upon returning to China. In February last year, Chinese professor Fan Yuntao from Asia University went missing after returning to China. In August last year, Hu Shiyun, a university professor at Kobe Institute, also went missing after returning to China. News Report 9. The Ministry of Education of China announced on May 15 that 24 new universities will be established. Although China's population has begun to decline, kindergarten enrollment in China has decreased by 5.34 million since last year. In the future, the number of elementary, middle, and university students will continue to decrease, so the establishment of 24 new universities has attracted attention. Among them, the establishment of Rehabilitation University and Shenzhen Polytechnic University has received much attention. Rehabilitation University is touted as the world's first university with rehabilitation science as its core, located in Qingdao, Shandong Province. Shenzhen Polytechnic University is positioned as a research-oriented university, relying on the resources of the Chinese Academy of Sciences Shenzhen Advanced Technology Research Institute. In addition, Hainan Medical College has been renamed Hainan Medical University, Ningxia Normal College has been renamed Ningxia Normal University, and the Tsuda College of Hunan Normal University has been renamed Changsha Industrial University. These renaming and establishment of new universities reflect the uniqueness of China's education policy.